All right, hey everyone, welcome back to Pro Wrestling for Life. This is where we talk about WWE Pro Wrestling on my couch. No big studio, no scripts. I got a few notes, and that's what we go off of. And yesterday, 2025, Clash in Paris is in the books. It was an okay event. I didn't have super high expectations for it. I think that WWE is saving a lot of their heavy hitter stuff for WrestlePalooza because their contract with Peacock is done for the PLEs, and the new era of ESPN is coming in, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, September 20 something. And it's unfortunate because Paris is a great venue. That's a really good crowd. They're hyped for everything, and I think they got an okay show, not a great show. So anyway, I did a predictions video. I believe on Wednesday or Thursday, a couple days. Might have even been Friday. So it happened on Sunday. Sunday afternoon in the United States, Sunday night in Paris, and this is the day after that I'm recording this, so we're going to talk about what I picked, what I thought would happen, and what actually happened. Like I said, it was an okay event. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. Not a lot happened, but a couple things did, and we're going to talk about that. So anyway, let's get into it. So the first match was Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. Basically a match for the Shula Fala, which was two of Roman's pairs of sneakers that Bronson had stolen over the last month or so. So what I predicted that Roman would win, he did. And the match was pretty good. The match was basically Bronson Reed beating up Roman for, a good 60% of it, and then Roman as the hero, overcame that, and he ended up getting the victory. It was a good showing for Bronson Reed. He needed it because he had been taking quite a few losses lately. He took the SummerSlam loss. He's taken some other losses. So, to pump up the vision a little bit, they needed a strong showing from Bronson Reed, and I think that they got it. So, he had a good showing, but it's Roman Reigns, so he won in the end. But it was good. I didn't hate it. The crowd was really hyped for it, which was expected in France because last time they had, I think it was Backlash. It was just nuts, and so the expectation was that the crowd was going to be really hyped, and they didn't disappoint with that at all. So in the end, Roman won, and so Roman was celebrating, and Bronson Reed was consoling Bronson Reed, and eventually Roman locked eyes with Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman had his two pairs of shoes around his neck, and Roman's like, "Hey, give those back to me." So he did, and after he gave the shoes back, Roman put Paul Heyman in a guillotine and choked him out. They said that Paul Heyman had to go to the hospital from this, which is a little bit of a stretch. It didn't look that hard to me, but it's wrestling, so whatever's real, whatever's fake, we don't worry about that. And then Roman went and he stood up on the announcer stage and he started signing the shoes and he was throwing them out to the crowd. And while he was doing this, Braun Breaker came up, and Braun Breaker was on the French announce team and on the announcer stand, whatever you call it, on the table. And he gave him a super big, hard spear. And then Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker continued to beat Roman down for a little while. Jey Uso ended up coming out trying to help him, but it was kind of in vain because he held for a minute, but then he got beat up too, and he got speared, and he had to have his ribs taped up for the final match. And So basically, what they were doing is they were writing Roman off so that he could go film Street Fighter for the next month or two. So there had to be a reason that Roman's not around for the next 6 weeks or whatever it's going to take. So that's what it was. They speared him a bunch of times. They tsunami'd him a bunch of times. He was on a stretcher, and Bronson Reed tsunami'd him 2 or 3 times more after that. But it did what it was supposed to do. Roman's got to be gone for a little while, and this is going to be the reason why. So my prediction was Roman would win. Roman did win, and now he's written off for a little bit. So he's going to go film Street Fighter with Cody Rhodes, and I'm expecting him to be back for Survivor Series. I would assume it's going to be a Vision versus Roman and Jay and probably Jimmy, maybe Jacob Fatu. I don't really know what the teams are going to be yet, but it's going to be some kind of Team Roman versus some type of Team Vision. But anyway, next match, Wyatt Six versus the Street Profits for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I didn't have a prediction for this because when I made a video of this match, it wasn't scheduled yet. So Street Profits came out in new attire. They were promoting Borderlands 4, I believe it is. It's some video game. They kind of looked like they were like straight out of The Purge. They had these like gas masks on, and I don't know. It was just, I didn't love it, but like I get it. I don't really like all the evil kind of stuff, so that's not my favorite things in wrestling. And then the Wyatt Six are, obviously an evil group too, so not my favorite things. I get it, you have good versus evil, but I don't particularly care for that kind of stuff. But the match was good, not great. The tag team division and the SmackDown side is pretty good right now, and it was nice to see that they gave them a match on another PLA 2 in a row because they were at SummerSlam last PLE. And the story in the beginning was the Street Profits were kind of bumping heads a little bit of who's the leader, like I want to start, and then they're like no, I want to start, and they're kind of like planting that seed of them breaking up. They're probably gonna have Montez Ford do a singles run, so I'm sure that they're gonna break up at some point and have a match of Dawkins versus Ford. I think that'll be pretty good. I'm sure Ford will win, and then he'll do his little singles run for a while. They may or may not get back together. I don't know. They've been a tag team for a really long time. They've done pretty much everything. So, anyway, the match was good. Like I said, not great, but good. The Street Profits did a lot of jumping off the top rope and things like that. Anyway, so the match ended with Eric Rowan came out and kind of distracted Dawkins a little bit, and then Montez Ford jumped over the corner, which was impressive because he jumped over the turnbuckle and the little support beam that was behind it, and flipped over and hit everyone. And then they ended with like kind of this haunted house thing where Nikki Cross came out from underneath the ring and grabbed one of them, and then Uncle Howdy hit the Sister Abigail and threw whoever, I can't remember who it was if it was Dawkins or Ford, but they threw him in the ring, and then they ended up getting the win. It was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was okay. But like I said, it was good to have the SmackDown tag teams on another PLE because they've been killing it lately. So good for them having another match on a PLE. Anyway, I didn't have a prediction because when I did a prediction show that this match wasn't even scheduled yet. So I didn't have a prediction for it. So Wyatt Six win, they retain the title, and on to the next match was for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and it was Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella. And I'll be honest, I didn't have a whole lot of expectations for this match, and it kind of hit that. It was okay. it's kind of a theme for this PLE. It was okay. Um, I predicted Becky to win, and she did in the end. The match wasn't terrible, but it wasn't really good either. Nikki had quite a few botched moves, segments, whatever you want to call it. But they had some good points too. They had some good moments, but in the end, there's not really a lot to talk about. Everyone expected Becky to win, and she did, and that's pretty much it on that one. The next match was the good old Donnybrook match between Sheamus and Rusev, and this one was pretty good. It was entertaining. It wasn't this like highly technical match, but that's never what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a street fight, basically a brawl, and it lived up to it. The first half was okay. They kind of just like hit each other with some chairs and some kendo sticks and things like that. But the second half got pretty good. They went and wrestled onto a bunch of whiskey barrels and used the announcer tables, and Sheamus ended up doing a white noise off of the whiskey barrels through two tables. That was pretty cool. Rusev and him just crashed through them because they're big huge dudes each, and like I said, it was entertaining, it was violent, it was hard hitting, it was kind of everything you expected that it would be. It was good to see Sheamus on a PLE again. It's been a really long time since he's been on there. He's usually on the SmackDown before the PLE, so he actually got a match on it, which was nice to see. Like I said in my previous shows, I like him, and I want to see more of him. And this match didn't disappoint. It was pretty entertaining. The ending, I don't know about the ending. So the ending, it ended with Rusev breaking the shillelagh over Sheamus's back, and then he put him in a submission move with the shillelagh in his mouth. And I'm sorry, I can't remember what that move is called right now, but Sheamus tapped, and he doesn't really tap out. So I don't know if this was like a power play for Rusev, or I don't know. It doesn't seem like a fitting end to what was going on, because you guys were just like fighting and brawling and just nonstop. And for Sheamus to tap, I don't know. Maybe it's leading into something else that I don't know about, but I didn't really love that he tapped. I would have rather had him pass out, because that kind of just like it knocks him down a peg a little bit. I think maybe it was meant to lift up Rusev a little bit. I think it kind of hurt. I think it hurt Sheamus more than it helped Rusev. So next match, John Cena versus Logan Paul, and I thought this match was really good. I thought this was some of Logan Paul's best work. He showboated a lot. He was arrogant. He was kind of an asshole, but that's his character. So it worked, and the crowd was super hyped for John Cena, which was to be expected. And I got this wrong. I predicted that Logan would win because Brock Lesnar would show up and interfere and F5 him or do something, but he never came. He never showed up, and I was really surprised by that. This was just a one-on-one wrestling match, and John Cena won in the end, and that's okay. I have no problem with that, but I was really surprised that Brock Lesnar didn't show up, because I thought they were going to try to build up that match, and they just kind of didn't. The kind of the theme of this match was they were doing kind of an ode to all of John Cena's past matches and rivalries. So John Cena and Logan Paul kept doing different finishers from past opponents of John Cena, with the most predominant one being the Styles Clash because the AJ Styles was so big in that match in Lyon and Backlash of Lyon. I don't remember what year it was, but that was such a big deal, and the crowd was so hyped for that, and they had to pay a little bit of tribute to that, and that's what that was. So I thought that was pretty cool. But John Cena won. He won clean, and there was no shenanigans, no outside interference. It was just a one-on-one match, and that's kind of cool because that doesn't happen that often. And I thought Logan Paul did really good. John Cena is John Cena, so he did great, of course, and it was just a good match. So good job WWE for this. The main event, Seth versus Jey Uso versus CM Punk versus LA Knight in a fatal four-way for the World Heavyweight Championship. These matches, they're like the theme I said, it's good, not great. It's hard to make a fatal four-way great. They're kind of clunky. They're kind of too many stars in one ring, too many finishers to do. It kind of just ends up being one-on-one and then one-on-one and then one-on-one. And, when someone tries to pin, someone will show up from outside the ring and break it up. And, that's kind of just how these matches are. So it was good. I never expected anyone to beat Seth for this because he just did the cash in. He just got the title at WrestleMania. It's only been 3 or 4 weeks. So I didn't think he was ever going to lose it, and he didn't. The ending was a little unpredictable. The ending had, Seth was about to lose to CM Punk, and then a masked invader came in and delivered a low blow to CM Punk, and then Seth curb stomped him and pinned him, and he won. That's where my prediction was wrong. I thought that LA Knight or Jey Uso would take the pin because I didn't think they wanted to have CM Punk take a loss, but with outside interference, it doesn't really hurt him. So the masked invader, whatever you want to call it, was none other than Becky Lynch. Obviously, that's Seth Rollins' wife. And, I'm sure it's a setup for her to be the 4th member of the Vision. She made comments about that. I can't remember what they were off the top of my head, but, it made it sound like she was going to be the next member. And tonight, that probably will happen. It makes sense for her to be part of this. She's been a heel. She's been doing really good work. They need a woman. It helps. Now she can, go fight against maybe AJ Lee. Maybe AJ Lee comes back. That makes sense. A lot of people want that. And then there's Seth's woman to fight against CM Punk's woman. Not saying I would hate that. I think that would be fun. Overall, Clash in Paris, B. I'd give it a B rating. It wasn't bad. It wasn't really great. The crowd helped a lot because the first match with Roman Reigns, when the crowd was still super jacked from being, in the beginning, it was fun, and that's kind of what this event was. It was fun. Not a whole lot happened. Roman got injured so that he can, be gone for a couple of while, and Becky Lynch became the 4th member. Other than that, not much happened. So that's kind of what I thought. I thought it was just going to be a little unforgettable PLE, which it was. None of the matches were that good. The Sheamus Rusev was pretty good, but people they'll remember Becky Lynch, doing the low blow to CM Punk, and maybe Roman getting attacked afterwards, but that's about it. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Comment below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Subscribe if you want. Like I said last time, I don't have very many, and I would really appreciate it if you did. And we will talk to you later. All right. Thanks. Bye.